Not all luxury watches are expensive, and not all expensive watches actually feel luxurious. We've all experienced it. You put on a watch and instantly it feels solid, refined, and confident. Then you check the price, and it's nowhere near what you expected. At the same time, there are watches that cost a lot of money but somehow feel underwhelming on the wrist. So that raises an interesting question. What actually makes a watch feel expensive? Is it the brand? Is it the movement? Or is it something more subtle? To explain this clearly, we'll look at a few watches from brands like Citizen, Orient Star, and Tissot. Not to compare them directly, but to understand why some watches simply feel more expensive than others. Let's get into it. The first thing that makes a watch feel expensive has nothing to do with price. It's design confidence. Watches that feel premium don't try to impress you immediately. They don't overload the dial with text. They don't use unnecessary shapes or details. Instead, everything feels calm and intentional. The spacing between markers feels right. The hands feel properly sized. Nothing feels cramped or rushed. This kind of restraint is surprisingly difficult to get right. And when it is done right, your brain automatically reads it as quality. A great example of this is the Citizen Tsuyosa. The design is modern, clean, and balanced. There's nothing shouting for attention, and that's exactly why it works. Luxury isn't loud. Luxury is confident enough to stay quiet. One of the biggest contributors to an expensive feel is dial depth. Flat dials tend to feel cheap even if the watch is well made. Dials that interact with light feel premium. This is where the Orient Star Automatic RE-AU 0004B00B really stands out. As you move your wrist, the dial changes. Light hits different areas differently. You see texture, shadow, and reflection working together. That visual movement adds richness. And richness is something we naturally associate with higher end watches. You don't need diamonds. You don't need complications. A dial that feels alive already elevates the entire watch. Once you start noticing this, you'll realize how many watches feel flat by comparison. Another huge factor is case finishing. This is something many people overlook at first, but it plays a massive role in how expensive a watch feels. Look at the edges of the case. Are they clean and well defined? Do the brushed and polished surfaces transition smoothly? The Tissot PRX is a perfect example of this done properly. The finishing feels deliberate, the lines are sharp, light moves across the case in a controlled, refined way. This kind of finishing adds visual weight and confidence to a watch. Poor finishing, on the other hand, instantly cheapens a watch, no matter how good the movement is or how strong the brand name might be. This is one of the clearest differences between watches that feel premium and those that don't. Here's something that's rarely talked about enough: proportions. An expensive feeling watch usually has excellent proportions. That doesn't mean large, and it doesn't mean ultra thin. It means everything works together. The case size feels right. The thickness feels balanced. The dial opening doesn't feel cramped or oversized. A watch can look great in photos and still feel awkward on the wrist. When that happens, the premium feeling disappears almost instantly. Watches like the Citizen Tsuyosa and the Tissot PRX sit flat, feel stable, and stay centered on the wrist. That stability creates confidence, and confidence always feels luxurious. Luxury isn't just about how a watch looks, it's about how it fits into your life. How smooth does the crown feel when you adjust the time? How naturally does the bracelet move with your wrist? Does the watch disappear during the day, or constantly remind you that you're wearing it? Citizen EcoDrive watches offer a very specific kind of luxury experience. You don't think about power. You don't worry about batteries. You just wear the watch. That effortlessness feels premium. On the other hand, automatic watches like the Orient Star offer emotional satisfaction. Knowing the watch is powered by mechanical movement creates a deeper connection. Different experiences, right? But both can feel luxurious in their own way. So why do some watches feel expensive, even when they're not? Because they focus on the right details: confident, restrained design, dial depth and light interaction, clean, intentional case finishing. At the end of the day, luxury isn't about the logo on the dial. It's about how a watch makes you feel when you wear it. A watch that feels balanced, refined, and comfortable will always feel more expensive than one that simply costs more. So now I'd like to hear from you. What's a watch you own that feels more expensive than it really is?